Hello everyone and welcome to Dorks Like Us. Today I have some potentially good news. Nintendo is hiring for a new online manager. A manager for the Switch Online service to be more specific. I won't read the full article here, but I will post a link in the description. I'll basically just give you the gist of it. It's more or less just a job description, but if you read the job description, it seems very promising. It looks like they want to take the service in a better direction. And that's good. The current online service sucks. It's not worth $20 a year. It wouldn't even be good if it were free, because we've had better free online services. And I think it's safe to assume that the subscription numbers for the online service aren't what Nintendo expected. You know, you wouldn't go looking for someone else to take over if the current person were making you money hand over fist. Now, maybe the current manager is just retiring. That's a possibility. But if you look at the description, it almost seems like they're replacing the current manager. So hopefully that means that they're actually looking to fix things. And kudos to everyone out there that didn't pay for the service. I think you did everyone a real solid there, myself included. I'll give myself a little pat on the back. Now, I've already seen the Nintendo Defense Force out there trying to make sure everyone keeps their expectations rock bottom low, as they always do. Saying not to get your hopes high, or that some people have unreasonable expectations. Obviously, I can't speak for everyone, but my expectation level is this. Have the same online features consoles had over a decade ago, built into the actual system, preferably. Keep the current price point, and expand the classic lineup to include systems all the way up to the N64 at least, as well as Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. And no, it's not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable to expect them to offer that at $20 a year. People think that because Sony and Microsoft charge $60 a year for their services, and it's just assumed that they need that money to have that kind of service, when in reality they don't. Maybe at some point I'll make a video discussing the concept of paid online and why I think it's such a scam, but we'll save that for another time. Point is, actually have expectations for once. Please. I think what I just listed is very reasonable. The fanboys have to stop trying to temper everyone's expectations just because they are afraid that Nintendo will be criticized if those expectations aren't met. Disappointment and criticisms are part of the game. Nintendo isn't going to crawl into the fetal position and cry themselves to sleep just because people are disappointed by something they do or don't do. We need to have a reasonable level of expectations and hold Nintendo to industry standards. It's the only way things like the online service will improve. As I said, or at least I think I said it, in my discussion video on the Switch Online service. I did quite a few takes for that video, so I can't exactly remember what was in the final take. But I believe I said something along the lines of, you're not going to convince people like me to not want a good online service, and you're not going to convince people like me that the current online service is good. I know what passes for a good online service because I've played other consoles. I have a expectation level in my head for what good online is. And you could say that Nintendo is not in competition with Sony and Microsoft, but the second they decided to charge for online, they threw themselves into direct competition. Because Nintendo did not invent the concept of paid online. Microsoft did, and Sony followed suit. The second Nintendo decided to charge for it, they threw themselves into competition with Sony and Microsoft. So it is not unreasonable to compare these services. If Nintendo were offering something different that was better, I'd be all for it. But doing something different just for the sake of doing something different doesn't always work, especially when it's not as good as the way things are. You know, I said this way back in 2017, the online wheel is not something that needs to be reinvented. People are happy with the way online works with consoles. And they have been since the days of the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. All Nintendo has to do is copy and paste. No one's asking them to reinvent the wheel. So yeah, I'm not going to retread a lot of ground from my last video or the video I did about the Switch Online service last week. It's just a little frustrating, but hopefully things are about to get better. We'll have to wait and see. I don't want to get people's hopes up as far as, you know, this guy being the chosen one and fixing all the problems, because it's a very real possibility that Nintendo themselves, or the head honchos at Nintendo, are responsible for the online service being bad. You know, the last manager or the current manager may have suggested that Nintendo just copy and paste what Sony and Microsoft have done, and Nintendo shot it down for whatever reason. And if that's the case, a new manager isn't going to make much of a difference. Maybe they're just looking for someone to try to come in and put a positive spin on it. But the job description does give me hope. So that's better than what we had a week ago, and I'll take it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to us if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more gaming discussions here on Dorks Like Us. This is Foxhound signing off. God bless.